I don't have an example showreel because people will copy it. Now, all I did was go online and look for showreels online. And here's what I saw. So this is great. Highly recommend to just send out links. If you need to send a link for your showreel, send a Vimeo link, not YouTube. Not YouTube, Vimeo. When you send a Vimeo link, make sure that no password is needed. I repeat, make sure that no password is needed, that people can just access it. Make sure that they do not have to download. 3 minutes per application, 1046, 5 days. Ain't got time. Yes? So simple link to a Vimeo upload. Drop your name here. Yes? Then here, in this box here, you want to write your contact details. Maybe a link to your Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But Facebook only if it's decent, okay? If it's you rolling out of the club in Shoreditch at 3 a.m., skip it. Okay, here we go. Now, right now, I'm just gonna give feedback, yeah? And we're not looking at how she's dancing or how they're dancing, not interesting. This is just about information and we're just using this as a resource. So based on her beginning, I would have invited her already. I'm done watching, I'm good. This one here. So this is our artistic director. And remember where she says, how long do I think the interest will stay fresh? She's trying to say, how long do they think I can stay interested in the video? Or if I send a video and the first movement is around 15 seconds, yes? Most of the time, a lot of the times, showreels start slow, like with a port de bras of 15 seconds. That's a waste of time. And a start like this, a dynamic start, is very unusual for me to see. But the first movements of your showreel need to grab, because remember, I have already seen 1,035 showreels. I am tired. I'm losing the will to live. In with a bang, in with a bang, out with a bang. You need to shake them and wake them up. Again, this is the trailer to you. If there's a trailer of a movie and it starts really, really slow, maybe you're into that, that's possible. But let's say that you're not. If it's really, really slow, you might lose interest. Yes, so you want to have a dynamic start. Okay, let's move on. So here it's clever, you know, she's showing dynamic in the beginning. Now we know she can lift her leg, nice. There's some flexibility exposed here, nice. And then, I don't know where she is, who she is. That's exactly what the artistic director was saying. I might like the person to her left and invite that one instead. Like, I don't know who she is, what the business, I have no idea right now. Plus, the movement quality is, for me, is not very different to the beginning. So for me, this doesn't add anything. So I know she's not the guys, great, but I'm unclear who she is with the women, and I have no interest in finding out, per se. Okay, great. So nice, a very different type of work. Brilliant to see. I'm again unclear who she, I'm guessing this is her, but I wasn't 100% sure. Again, I'm unclear who she is. I think you get my point. What's nice is that she's showing a different movement quality to the first one. And listen, man, if you're gonna take unison, I think this needs to be unison, if this was meant to be unison. If you're gonna take group work, make sure it's shit hot. So this is great. She showed some different movement qualities. This looks slightly unnecessary to me. This doesn't add anything for me personally. Why? Well, it just doesn't. By this point, we're 4 minutes in, coming to the end. And this is where, if this is the last few moments of the show reel, I would want to have a, like, pickup. Or if it's going to be slow, let it be really emotional and sentimental if that's relevant. Okay. Scrolling to the end. Okay. So, what was missing here? And this video is not loading, so I'm not sure, it's unclear if she's done it in the end. At no point was it clear what she was dancing. She did write in here, but this is not working for me because I've got 3 minutes, right? So I'm not gonna look at the video and then go, I'm not gonna do that. So what I need is my suggestion is whenever you have a new section starting, so ideally here, I would have the title, the artist written. I go into the next section. This one here, again, different information, write what it is, who it's by. Another thing, problematic and unprofessional, if this is the case, again, I told you I didn't see the end of the video, is this, she didn't credit the music. Must credit the music. Another thing I would do is in the beginning, have your name displayed also on the show reel. Have your name displayed also on the show reel. Okay, so here's how it ends, which is nice, I think, because it starts turning in the beginning, dynamic in the beginning, dynamic in the end. My girl knows how to whiz. So she didn't write the credits in the end. I would again close with your name and possibly your contact details. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. So again, I just Googled contemporary dance showreel. Y'all know Kevin Hayes? I don't know Kevin Hayes. Let's see what my man's doing. Ah, here we go. Clear. Name, man's a dancer, it's a contemporary showreel, and there's a headshot there. Helpful. Get to see his face. Creates familiarity. It gives me the feeling that we're building a relationship. Again, we're not here to judge the movement. Uninteresting. And it's not very plain either. So, okay, important. Really important, especially for young dancers, is this. Hear me in level 66. Focus. Why do you think they want you with 3 to 5 years experience? So they don't have to tell you how to use your focus. And so my man here, nice and dynamic, weak focus. Let's look at her again. Even though she's whizzing, there's a sense of direction with the focus. And that shows me maturity. Boom, there she is. There she is. Shows maturity. Fix your focus. This is the weakest thing with young dancers. Whoops. For me, the space looks messy. Close your curtains, deal with this stuff here, deal with it. Present yourself in the most professional way that you can. Your environment needs to be clean. What he's wearing is clean and clear, cool. But sort your environment out. Take some pride in that. So this is what I'm talking about. For a split second, there's the information. Did you see what he did? Yeah? But for me personally, that doesn't really work. It's too short. Also, the name of the artist here is too short. Give me a little bit more time. I need a little bit more time with the star. I appreciate the star, but let it star hang a little bit more longer. For me personally, this bit here doesn't add very much because I feel I've seen the language already and I've seen him in a group already. So brilliant. There's some contact improvisation there. That's clear what that is. Now, personally, I feel at this point I've seen enough, so I'm scrolling now. Where is he? Yes. Okay. Crystal clear. Contact details, nice. Phone number. Could do with the +44 because you know I don't know that he's in the UK or not. Oops. Now, personally, he writes the music here. I would write it as part of the, what's it called? Of the showreel. So he's ticking some great boxes here in terms of how to present. The thing that you need to think about, this showreel here is just a showcase. So this is not specifically for any artist or any an audition, I'm guessing. I'm just curious about this one here. Great. Hello, Faye. It's a bit too far away for me. So this is a mix of stage work and studio work. All right, cool. Let me see you again. Yes. First, do your research and then collect material that is relevant. Generally speaking, unless they ask for something else, I would make the showreel no more than a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Because as you see with the longer ones, I find them a little bit repetitive. So this is why I come in with a bang, flow, and then go out with a bang. So suggestion is 1.5 to 2 minutes, okay? Depending on what you're auditioning for, either make sure you have some rep in there so you show that you can adapt to other people's styles and movement. Have some improvisation in there as well. Yeah, very important. Again, if it's relevant, if you're gonna apply for a rep company that doesn't get any improv, then bring a couple of rep pieces. Make sure that whatever you're doing, it is clear. So if you're improvising, write the title, create the title improvisation. If you're dancing your own material, your own work, write that it's your own work. If it's rap, write that it's rap. I like the choice of music for The Last Guy. It had a drive to it. It had a movement to it. It was not something that I'd heard before. If you use something that I've heard before that's very common and very popular, that might bring up all sorts of associations that take me back in that time when I felt, you know, and when I was experienced, whereas really my focus should be with you. Make sure you credit the music. Make sure you credit the choreographers. Suggestion is to have your name in the beginning, contact details, and a headshot. And then again, something similar towards the end. Credit the music, credit the music, credit the music. What you're wearing is important. Give it some thought. Wear something that's relevant. Make sure it's clean. I would suggest not to wear anything with big logos on it or anything that can take away the attention, because you need it, the attention for the minute and a half, 2 minutes that you've got. Make sure that the space is clean and clear. I don't care if you do it in a garage, but make sure it's clean and clear. Now, with site-specific stuff, I've heard artists or rehearsal directors, they're like, don't like that. So unless it's relevant, focus, 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 guys, focus. And I appreciate that sometimes you do release work and there's no clear focus or you're moving so fast, but have an internal focus at least. And when you're improvising, you better be down, you better work it, because improvising can be really challenging to put off. Improvisation, like good, powerful improvisation that isn't just like internal and wallowing in self, whatever. It's really, so you're gonna work on that. So get playful with it, get in a studio with a couple of friends, get someone to coach your movement. When you have such a short video, make sure you don't cut too much, don't edit too much, don't have too many clips. Yes, give us a moment to land into what you're doing. Give us a moment to settle into what you're doing. Play with the dynamics, floor work, etc. If you're dancing in a group, make sure that it's clear that it's you, and only use the footage if it's well lit and close enough. If it's not, don't use it. What did she write? Isn't this like common sense? Isn't it common sense that if I send a dark video with 8 people dancing with no instructions who I am, how long do you think I will stay interested? That's an artistic director that you want to send your work to people, just saying. There's another thing. What is it? I said about sending a link, no passwords, nothing to download, and just double check that that's indeed the case, because that's sometimes you don't even realize that something needs to be downloaded. So just send the application to yourself so you know for sure what the others are getting. Mm-hmm. This. So I was working with Kara Staten. Do you know Kara Staten? She's a beautiful mover. She danced with Russell Maliphant for a long time. She also danced with Beyonce. Got another story about that. Let's start about Russell Maliphant. Karis was in her 3rd year, and I was working at the school she was training at. And I was gonna do a workshop with Russell Maliphant, but my knees were not good. So I said to her, see, you must go, Karis, you must go. Because I had seen a dancer in Tori's class. Tori does a ballet class, contemporary ballet class in London. And I saw a dancer in that class, and I went up to the dancer and said, oh my God, you're such a beautiful mover. And she did, like with a lot of dance artists, she's like unable to take a compliment. But I looked at how she moved and I remembered. And then when I wasn't able to go to the workshop, I sent Karis. I said, Karis, I have a spot. Can you take it? Because she moved similar to how that other woman was moving that I saw in the open class. So I'm in Florida, and Karis contacts me. She said, I don't really want to go. It's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. said, babes, just go. She went. I'm in Florida. I get a message. She said, gee, you never guess what happened. Oh my God, I did the workshop. And now he's asked me to come back into the studio with him 1-to-1. And then I get another message saying, oh my God, you never guess what happened. He offered me a contract. Yes. So no audition. Well, technically no audition. And just through connection, and she was there for a few years. Why am I telling you this story? Yes, this is why I'm telling you the story. And then I invited her to run an audition workshop for me, to be my guest. And she said that there are artists these days that don't really care about snazzy, flashy show reels. They just want to see that you know how to move. And they're happy for you to shoot yourself on your iPhone. That's more than enough for them, and just send that footage. So I just want to tell you that there's a school of thought that embraces that. And then there's a school of thought that's like, fireworks, please, full blown. Yes. So I don't know what to tell you, like, play it safe, trust your intuition, stand by it. So I don't know, do your research and go with your intuition in terms of what you're going to send. Yes, in terms of what style, what type. I really want to encourage you to work together with someone on this, someone to coach your movements as well. Totally okay to have a stage work and studio work, totally cool. All they need to know is that you can dance. It's not a documentary that needs to win an Emmy, okay? I feel that this is where you want to get in touch with your playfulness and just get into the studio and just start to mess around and film yourself. And you'll see what speaks or not. And if you're unclear, work with someone on it. Like in class, you'll do, I don't know what your background is, but in some styles, they really work with the eyes, like seeing the space around you, see something close, you see something far away from you. Work with different levels. And I think it's just a question of playing and get someone to coach you. And if you're having set material, you already know which direction to look, but you gotta then also connect to how you project out, how you project. And just dancing for film is so different to dancing for stage. So it's just a matter of getting in studio and messing about, babes, and just playing. Listen, I know you know this, I have to drive it home. Whether you're invited or not, may or may not have anything to do with your application or with who you are, or what you're bringing. You gotta get a little bit Buddhist about this shit. You send it off and you gotta disengage, because this stuff is so random. Sometimes there are audition. You have to send an application in. They're not even looking for dancers. Or you end up, you go to an open audition, they already know who they want, but they have to do the audition process in order to get the funding. It happened to me. I went to Ailey audition in New York years ago. Spent all that money, that's flight, place to stay, food, visas, everything. I get there, hundreds of us are there. They already knew who they wanted. That's an experience I didn't particularly need. You understand? New York is great though, don't worry. I had a good time. Other times, a company has to run an audition every single year. Sometimes they just want to see who is around. Sometimes, this is another story, like this company, they were in love with one of the dancers in the audition, but they already had someone who looked exactly like that dancer. So they didn't take the other one who was auditioning for them. They would have taken him like that, but they already had one like him. What is he gonna do? Shoot in a depression? Retrain because he did? No. It's just, you know, and then you say your goodbyes and see you next time. basically. All good. But you gotta be able to find a way of shaking it loose. And I really think that taking company class is the way forward. I really believe that. Go somewhere, send off your, do cold application, send your information, let them know that you want to come and go. And then make a little tour, travel around. You go Germany, visit a couple of places. Go Holland, visit a couple of places. You know, operate like that. Definitely. So I would love for you to, whether you get invited or not, have the sense of ownership and pride in the work that you've presented, regardless of whether they get back to you. And it might just be that they're not ready for you yet, and that's okay too. We'll give them time. So we started off talking about levels of awareness and their importance and relevance in life and auditioning. We have a lot of R's. We also talked indirectly a little bit about neurology and how what we say has an impact on, can have an impact on our behavior and how we're feeling. We talked about changing our state, how the state of our mind and state can impact the state of our body. We talked about the use of the word, words like trying, maybe, and I don't know. Notice when you say those things, if they're really true. And then notice when, like Patrick said, if I take the word try out, it starts to feel like a statement. I'm not going to try and do this exercise. I'm going to go and do this exercise. I'm not going to try and get the material. Maybe I'll get the material. I'm going to get the material to the best of my ability. I don't know. When I test this, I don't know. When the person connects to I don't know, less muscle power just by using that word. So just start to become aware of what you're saying to yourself whilst you're dancing. Start becoming aware of what you're saying to yourself whilst you're walking. Just, you know what, you become aware of what you're saying to yourself the moment you wake up. What are the first things you say to yourself? How do you start your day? Because that has an impact. Before I share some other stuff, and then we went on to CVs, cover letters, show reels, interviews, practice interviews. Record yourself on your phone, do a role play with a friend, talk to yourself in the mirror, imagine and feel yourself. Listen, imagining is not enough, you need to feel. Imagination, feelization. I made this word up yesterday, feelization. When you feel something, you imagine that you feel something, feelization. A lot of people talk about imagery, that's great. But imagery is for the mind. Feelings are for the body. So it's the equivalent of saying, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great. No, you got to start to connect to the feeling of greatness. Taking certain words out and just start to connect with what you're thinking and what you're saying to yourself when you're waking up, when you're walking to the toilet, when you're going to school, when you're going to work, when you're going to all these things. What are you saying to yourself? And are they the things that you need to be hearing? I have a friend, you know, she's saying, she's living in New York, and she said auditioning is, in that area, auditioning is happening less and less. It's more about who you know and connecting to people. So there's that. And then I think in the UK and in Europe, I think auditioning will remain for a while because of funding. But go out, 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 be somewhere for a bit. Like when I went to New York, I was with a company for 3 months, unpaid, just to build a relationship. It didn't work out in the end, and it was a good thing. And I had an amazing experience, but it was 3 months of my life living in New York on my own expenses, not being paid. This is why I save your money up. Whatever money you get in, put 10% aside at least. So you start to build a buffer for those types of situations, definitely. and just, you know, go out, create, go out to networking events, go to the theater, go to underground place, go out, get out. Okay, about interviews. I'll just talk about interviews a little bit more. Then I'll give you just 2 minutes and then I'm going to wrap up because there's something else I want to say that's really important to me to share with you. Pick your time wisely to go out for company class. I would already start communicating with people for the next season. And they won't get back to you immediately. Push a little bit. Phone calls, smoke signals, use your network. You know, go up to people, ask them to come in and take class. About interviews, as I said, practice them. I've heard too many stories also through the audition workshop of people who get in, but then didn't get the job because they failed at the interview. That's a shitty place to fail people. You know, I use the word fail, I don't often use it, but that's a shitty place to just lose it. And sometimes, very often it's because people were not emotionally prepared for it. Sometimes people were so in shock that they got to that point that they were literally in shock and their body was like in a freeze mode, like a deer caught in headlights. So this is why I'm telling you now, practice. And if you're someone who prefers to communicate with the body as opposed to through words, get curious about expressing yourself verbally. Start talking about your interests with other people, just as a preparation for that interview, because it's going to come at some point, you know. And I want to say this now. Understand where I come from when I say this. In my second audition workshop, we were working with Sam Corrin, a guy who used to dance with Wim van der Keibels and Hofesh. And a lot of people want to dance with Hof. And so a lot of people came. And he's a wonderful guy. And there was this woman, and she was a beautiful mover. And at the end of the workshop, we always have a one-to-one. We sit down with you and we talk with you for a quick 5 minutes. So I said to her, wow, babe, you're such a beautiful dancer. And this girl had no confidence. And you know, I so often hear dancers say, I'm shy, I don't have any confidence. And what are you doing about that? That's what I want to know. Because you can keep telling yourself the same thing, but see where that gets you. Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So I have very little time for like, I'm unconfident and I'm shy. Don't come to me with that. I'm not interested. I'm interested in what you're doing about it. That's where I can step in. So this girl, she was ready to do something. Because she found that every time she would go to auditions, but towards the end, she would never get to the interview stage. She's one of those dancers that get to the end, like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 66th round, but she doesn't get through to the interview stage. You know, one of those. So every workshop I run, so also this one, I say to people, if you have, most of us go through challenging situations in life. Most of us experience trauma of some sort in our life. And I don't care if that's you losing your favorite cuddly toy when you were 3, that's a traumatic event. And you're still dealing with that subconsciously. Fear of losing things, fear of losing people, fear of whatever. Or someone dear to you passed away, or someone really hurt you, your feelings. It doesn't matter what it is. Most of us have had something in our lives that has affected us in a way. So then it's also our job to take responsibility at some point and deal with that. So for some people that means going through therapy, and that can be working with horses, working with animals, could be talking therapy, could be coaching, could be counseling, could be pole dancing, could be going for, I don't care, anything. You with me? But do something. Do something. Stop being a victim. It's not cool anymore. So I say this to every group, and very often people afterwards, they start to take care of their internal world, because being alive is challenging for a lot of us, but being a dancer can be super challenging because you're dealing with the emotions all of the time, and you're dealing with a lot of people that emotionally do not know how to regulate themselves. You're dealing often, a lot of time, you're dealing with people who don't know how to behave. I've seen too much of it. And this is why I run this workshop, to tell you to get ready, because some of those people will get on your path, and then you start to doubt yourself, where actually the problem lies with them. And it could be a colleague, it could be artistic director, it could be an RD that you have a weird relationship with. So the more you can empower yourself to be able to handle those situations, the better it is, because you're important and you matter and you're worthy. That's it. So I coached her. Did I? Yes, I coached her. A few weeks after that, I get a message from her saying, wow, did this audition for Verve. That's a company, like a graduate company. And she said, I had such a good time. They butchered us, they killed us, but I loved it. And by the way, that's what they do. Huh? These long auditions, they are there to tire you out, to fatigue you, and then they see who you are. Like, who are you when you get to that point? So enjoy getting tired in your classes. Enjoy getting fatigued, because you're building the stamina. Then a few weeks after that, I get another message from her. She's saying, gee, I got an apprenticeship with this amazing company. I said, babes, well done, you did it. How did you do it? She said, after the workshop, I decided to do hypnotherapy to deal with some family issues. Here's how trauma works, or anxiety works. All these challenging emotions take energies. If you have stuff that's unresolved, if you have experiences that are unresolved, trauma that's unresolved, experiences that are unresolved, you might not think about them, but the issues live in the tissues. The energy is stored and locked in the body, precisely the thing that you are wanting to express with. Once you start to deal with the stuff that's bothering you, you will have more energy available. It's physics. And I can speak from experience. You have more energy available. And because that energy is not locked into suppressing the trauma or suppressing the experience. The energy is not locked in the behavior of shyness. The energy is no longer locked in the behavior of underconfidence. It's transformed into something else, available energy for you to create with. So as a result of the hypnotherapy, she dealt with family issues that were bothering with her. And you know, sometimes you don't even know shit's bothering you until you start looking at it. And with that new and available energy, she was able to do the behavior of confidence more consistently, and was able to bag the apprenticeship. And 5 years later, she's still there. This is a different girl, not the one from Sweden. She's still there. Pretty confident that had she not done the inner work, as well as the outer work, the physical work, she would not have managed to, one, get the job and to keep it. Because you can get a good job, but can you keep it? We need to move away from this space where, you know, it's problematic, you know, we can't, something's wrong if you go to therapy, fuck that, it's over, it's old school thinking. I've had therapy, I'm a better person for it. I don't recommend being on therapy for a very, very long time, because research shows that the more you the more you delve into the past and go deeper and deeper and go spend 20 years now to resolve the first 20 years of your life, it makes your brain worse. It's not useful for everything and not useful for everybody. There's other modalities that work much quicker, in a much quicker way, in a more efficient way. And again, sometimes it's good to talk for a few months about stuff, but it's about moving forward, not moving backward. So if you're dealing with these things, deal with it. If you need support with that, contact me. I'm a coach, fucking love it. I'm working with a lot of dancers. I love it. You know, like a couple of my girls, they were in auditions this week, and you know, and it's a sign of strength. It's a sign of believing in yourself, because there's billions of people on the planet, not for you to sort your shit out by yourself, but to do it together. And it doesn't matter if it's me. Let it be someone else. But if you feel you need support and you want to have fun in the process, go make it happen. So I'm coaching some people who are in their 3rd year. I coached a girl who was an apprentice at Scottish Dance Theatre. The artistic director, the rehearsal director contacted me because she knows I'm coaching, and she said, can you work with this person? She needs some support, because it's a big transition from being a student to being a young professional. So I worked with her for a few sessions. We had a great time, and things have changed for her in the positive. So yeah, I feel very passionate about you and your well-being, and especially as dancers, where sometimes you're not protected enough. And there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of wonderful people out there, but there's also some people that are mentally not so stable, or again, who don't know how to self-regulate very well. And the time of dancers being abused in any way, and people being abused in any way, we're talking about dance here, needs to end, and it ends with you. Basically, it needs to end with you. And if you choose to, like I was coaching a dancer, and she works with someone who's extremely abusive, and I ask her, what's the reason for you working with him? Well, it gives me X, Y, and Z. Okay, great. And she's able to manage herself in that situation. She could leave, right? She could leave, but she chooses to stay, not because she doesn't think she can get work she cannot get work anywhere else. She chooses to stay because she enjoys the environment, except for the artistic director. My God. And she's regulating herself in that situation. Another thing I want to say is this: make sure you enjoy body work. So get a massage, get some acupuncture, do some somatic experience or something. You're working your body to the max. Look after it in a loving way, in a way don't do sports massage or shit like that where you want to cry at the end of it. Something nourishing and nurturing for you, because it's very, very important. Take care of your self-care, take care of your self-love, look after yourself in this process. So that's what I wanted to say to you today. I also want to say this, like sometimes I see dancers who think they want something, and they keep pushing, and they keep pushing. Stop pushing for a minute, let go a little bit and see what life brings you. You know, you might think you want to be with that company, but actually your path is to work with street kids, or work with people with Alzheimer's to get them to move, or to, it might, you know, stay flexible. Stay flexible. When they get to company, they become so unhappy in no time. They're like, is this it? You know, and others, they flourish. It's not for everybody being in a company. Some people are much better off doing freelancing. Others need to stay away from freelancing because it's not their rhythm. It's okay to find out. You hit your nose a few times, you get up and you keep going, you know? And another thing I want to say is this. I was working with this girl, she auditioned for Hofesh 2 a couple of years ago. And this is one of the reasons why I talk about taking care of your inner world and taking pride in that, because you're worth it. Shit happens to all of us. Fuck it. Let's deal with it and move on. But with this girl, she hadn't taken care of her stuff. And so she got all the way to the end of the workshop, of the audition. And at the end, Hoff turns to her and says, babes, I'm sure he didn't say babes, but he could have. He said to her, you're something like this, you're a blinding mover, you're an awesome mover. 800 people later, you're still here. But your problems are dancing in front of you. You are constantly doubting yourself. I can see it in your process. And that's not what I want to bring in front of my audience. It's not what I can work with. Got all those years of training, gets all the way to the end of that. And then it's not the dancing that's the issue, but the way how she's dealing or not dealing with her internal world. Now that's her path and her journey in life. And now she's creating a pathway for herself in a different area of dance. And maybe that's where she needs to be. I can't, you know, I don't know about other people's lives per se. Everyone has their path, their journey, but I just want to share it with you as a story. We see, we notice, we feel, you know, so if there's stuff for you to deal with, go ahead and deal with it. I really want to encourage you to take small chunks, bite size, small steps, especially when it comes to changing your behavior and you're doing it on your own. And the key thing here is to celebrate, man. Celebrate. You've done that CV, celebrate. And celebration could be, you know, sending me a crazy message. I've done it! Ah! Or it could be you drinking tea out of your favorite mug and you allow yourself to watch one of those episodes that you don't want to watch too many of because it will go crazy. But celebrate. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the shoulder. This is what's important. Especially for you freelancers. You know, especially, it's so important. We need it. And research shows that when we congratulate ourselves or when we acknowledge ourselves or honor ourselves, it's much more powerful than when someone else does it, basically. I'm grateful, I'm delighted that you feel inspired. And just in closing, couple of things. First, this is I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but I've invested a lot in these workshops. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very passionate about it. I'm a coach also. I've invested in that a lot. And this is like my package that I offer to dancers. So I really want to ask you you're going to get a recording. I really want to ask you to not share it because you paid for it. Also, because I had sometimes in the past, you know, one person pays and then they invite like the whole class to sit in the room with them to take the information, but that's not how it works. So I really want to ask you to honor that because this is my work. This is what I do. This is how I make a living. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. And go get it, peeps. Go get it.